All right, everyone. Well, we're all filtering in. We'll go ahead and get started. Thank you all for coming in person today, and to the many on Zoom, thank you for joining us virtually. It's one of those days when I woke up this morning and I thought I might be speaking to an empty room. So for those of you who are here because you had to be on clinical service, keep it to yourself. I don't want to hear it. For those of you who came in, thank you for being here. I always say that this is the most important talk I give because this is a talk about you, it's a talk about us, it's a talk about what we've done. And I'm really glad to be able to do it today because there's a lot that we have to cover. And so I'm just gonna dive and get right in while people are filtering in still with the annual state of the department. Since we have a lot to talk about, I've divided my talk into 4 blocks. I'll talk about just a quick few words about the year we've had in review. I think it deserves a few comments. I'll focus next on our people, on our leaders, and I'll spend the bulk of my time talking about our programs and our performance, using data and sharing with you how we've actually done the many things we've done. I'll end with some priorities and a look at what's ahead, thinking about where we are and where we need to go. So let me begin with the year in review. And every year when I do this talk, I think about the last year and what did I say at the last year. So for those of you who were here last year, the state of the DOM in 2024 was that we had strong headwinds. And these are what I described at the time. An unfavorable political climate, shrinking clinical margins, decreasing NIH funding lines making support more competitive. Our affiliates were receiving a lot of crossfire from various areas, and of course, we had decreasing state educational support. And I was worried then. Fast forward to where we are today, and I would just say this has been unprecedented. I would say it's been the toughest year of my years as a healthcare leader in almost a decade. Because when I think about the challenges this year, it's not just what we experienced nationally. There's been local challenges. There's been continued erosion of our clinical margins, continued growth of the competition, all kinds of legislative and regulatory pressures that have forced us to adapt, evolve, and change. There are regional challenges. We're in the middle of a gubernatorial election. We are seeing increasing deficits in Colorado and rising costs of living, which make it more and more challenging to recruit fellows, residents, and faculty to our midst. And let me not talk about the national challenges, because I could go on and on. But here's just a few things. We've had a year of war and conflict. We've had tariffs and economic uncertainties. We've not just had NIH funding lines shrink, we've had pauses and disruptions. We've had threats, I would say that's probably a soft word, to our diversity and equity missions. We had the longest shutdown in our history of our country. I say the word lightly, but I mean it when I say it, a full-on assault on academic and higher education. We've had continued insecurity for Medicaid funding and UPL. Who would have thought in this country we would have had food insecurity this year? And many of our staff and faculty experienced this. And now we're even having debates about what counts as a professional degree. So I could go on. There's more and more on this. And I will just say it can feel very self-defeating. But I used the plane metaphor last year, so let me stick with the plane metaphor. Because when everything seems to be going against you, remember that the airplane takes off against the wind, not with it. This was Henry Ford way back when. This actually, I think, really speaks to me in terms of some of the challenges we face, because this actually, to me, speaks to us about who we are and our mission. Our mission is to transform lives through innovative training, compassionate care, and groundbreaking discoveries. We live our mission through our values, which include clinical and academic excellence, collaboration and teamwork, transparency in how we make decisions, mentorship and leadership development, and wellness and work-life balance. I want you to keep that in mind as I walk through the next part of this talk, because I actually think when you look at what we've done in the year in review, we've stayed quite true to our mission and values, and that gives me comfort despite the strong headwinds that we faced this year as well. So let me tell you about that, and let me begin with talking about our people and our leaders. I am blessed, I feel, to have an incredible leadership team with finally, in my 4 years plus as chair, a full complement of vice chairs. So here are our vice chairs. Many are in the room today. I have red squares around Dr. David Murphy and Dr. Jennifer Spicer. These are our 2 new additions to our vice chair team this year. I'd like to tell you a little bit about both of them. Dr. Murphy joins us from Johns Hopkins. He finished his medical school at the Robert Wood Johnson School in New Jersey. He stopped back at Hopkins for his fellowship and then his degree in clinical investigation. He spent many years at Emory Healthcare, where he was the chief patient safety officer for the institution. In the short time that he's been here, David has already been focusing on the Quality Council, on the associate vice chairs, and how we work together as a team. He's been looking at our data architecture and infrastructure for quality in the DOM, and he's been an active, engaging participant with UC Health on things like our Vizient and US News and World rankings, and he's doing much, much more. A wonderful addition to our team. Welcome, David. Dr. Spicer is sitting right behind Dr. Murphy here today. She joins us also by way of Emory. She received a bachelor's at the University of Georgia. She thought she would be a lifer at Emory, but we proved her wrong. She finished her med school residency chief year and ID fellowship at Emory, received a master's in health professions education from the University of Illinois at Chicago, and she's been very actively engaged on thinking about supporting our fellowship programs and our leaders. Today is match day, by the way, for those of you who don't know. I'm hearing great news, and so stay tuned for an email later today about how we've done. She's also really focused on the career development for many of our clinician educators. And sneak peek, you're going to see a new format to Grand Rounds next year, a lot more interactive, a lot more rapid takes, and perhaps even some debates on Grand Rounds. And of course, she's looking at all of our educational program as well. So very grateful to have the both of you in our team. You've really started off with a strong head start. Our vice chairs are supported by associate vice chairs. So Dr. Spicer works closely with Dr. Amiran Badawashvili, who's also here today. Dr. Higgins, our vice chair for research, has two associate vice chairs that work underneath her. Dr. Dan Matlock, who is a new addition to our vice chair leadership team today. Dan is a health services researcher, does a lot of work nationally in leading shared decision-making in cardiovascular care and beyond, and it's wonderful to have him on our team. He is partnered with Dr. Mary Weiser Evans, who supports basic science and bench science research. Dr. Murphy has two associate vice chairs, Dr. Anunta Virapongse, who helps oversee the Quality Council, and Dr. Tyler Ansett, who I saw earlier today, who helps with our GME quality and safety. And Dr. Sharma, our vice chair for faculty development, welcomed Meredith Beaton to the team this year. Meredith is an APP leader here in the school. She has been focused on APP mentorship and development in the department, and I'll tell you more about that in just a few minutes. You know, we often forget that we talk about this campus, but we really have leaders across all of our campuses. So I want to acknowledge our department affiliate vice chairs, including Dr. Kristen Hyland, who's a member of our Division of Endocrinology at the VA, Dr. Kevin Brown, who's a member of Pulmonary Critical Care at National Jewish, and Dr. Anu Paranzape, who's a general internist at Denver Health. I will just say that this year has not been isolated to us in terms of challenges. It certainly has had challenges for all of them as well. And one of the nice things about having a friend before you need one is we actually were able to tackle a lot of these challenges together. So a lot of late night calls, a lot of text messages, a lot of how are you handling this, how are you handling that, but truly, I think a team-based approach to how we think about leadership. Those are the vice chairs. We also have an incredible team of division heads, and you'll see them all here. It is truly, I think, my privilege to be able to work with these individuals. They are truly top of their class when it comes to their specialties and area. This year, we welcome Wendy Armstrong. I saw Wendy sneaking in a little earlier today. There she is. Wendy is our new chief of ID, who also comes by way of Emory. You're seeing a pattern here. It's okay. Wendy is nationally known for work in HIV and has an international reputation, in fact, in that space, and will soon be the president of the Infectious Diseases of Society of America. So truly a leader in the field, and we're lucky to have her in our midst. There are two interim positions still here. One is Dan Pollier in hematology, who has served really admirably in this role at a time of transition. And the other is Steve Dreskin, who was our interim for allergy. We actually made a change with allergy and clinical immunology. We actually moved that division into the pulmonary division as a new section. We did this because this was the way it was working nationally now. A lot of the allergists actually work within the field of pulmonary medicine. It made sense to do that for multiple reasons. I asked Dr. Jenny Stitt to be our inaugural section chief, and I'm grateful to her for her leadership in this area. And I also want to thank Dr. Dreskin, who I believe is probably watching from his mountain home right now. But if you're listening, Steve, thank you for your service as interim. I think interims are the hardest jobs we can do, and he did admirably well. To acknowledge that allergy is now part of pulmonary, we are renaming the division. The division will now be called the Division of Pulmonary Allergy and Critical Care Medicine, or PACCM. And thank you, Dr. Holguin, for welcoming allergy to the division and for making this important change. Another change I want to highlight is the changes that are happening in the world of transplant. As you know, transplant is becoming highly multidisciplinary. It's becoming much more service line oriented across healthcare systems, and we are no exception to that rule. So we are moving transplant into its own section in the Department of Medicine called the Section of Transplant Medicine. This will allow it to be ready for those transitions as and when they happen. My goal is to have ultimately all of the transplant missions, education, research, as well as all the innovation missions under one umbrella, and have it be a standalone division in the Department of Medicine. We have started a national search for an inaugural section chief, and this was launched in partnership with UC Health. This person will be one of the co-directors of the Transplant Center here on campus. I've asked Dr. Eddie Stenium to serve as interim section head, and he has done that for over 6 months now, and has agreed to stay on until we find a new leader. And Fred, who's in the corner I saw over there, has been serving as our interim section administrator, really getting all the finances and administration organized. So thank you, Fred, for your help with that as well. So we've got great leaders. We're making some changes in organizations. It's not enough to hire the right people. You got to train them and get them organized. And so we spent a lot of time in the DOM really developing our leadership team. We brought in an external firm, JCD Advisors. They have worked with us in group settings to really think about how we communicate, our mental models, our mindsets. I'm often reminded where I sit on the quadrants in terms of my personality and how best to engage me with various things. And we supplement the leadership development of our team with feedback. I'm a big believer in feedback. I think feedback is a gift. This helps foster strategic development of our leaders. It elevates self-awareness. It enhances accountability and transparency, which I think both improve performance. And I meet with our division heads for their annual PRISMs, and I share this feedback with them. So we talk about it, we discuss it, we think about ways to get better and ways to improve, and I take my own feedback back to the dean and share with him what I'm going to be doing and how I'm going to be changing as well. So for those of you who got multiple emails, sorry, I know there's a lot of emails coming your way these days, but thank you for doing that. It does make a difference in terms of how your leaders think about their jobs, as well as their ability to be effective. Our leaders are supported by incredible staff, and I can't speak enough about these people. They are the silent people in the room many times. They don't get the credit I think they deserve. In the DOM, I think we have the best administrative team. They're all in this corner over here. I call them the DOM squad. We have everything, including human resources, support for our special programs, quality data and analytics, support for our research and research programs, a big team for finance and contracts, which you'll hear more about in a second, and of course, communications. We are filming this today with a special camera crew. We do that as part of our communication strategy. This recording goes to all of our recruits as we bring them in, so they understand what's happening in the department. And of course, we want to make it professional and make it look good, which is why I'm wearing a nice tie, and we have a nice camera here today as well. But they do a great job of making us look good, so thank you. Thank you very much. We have great division administrators that support our divisions. And it's funny, this year has been a year where we haven't had much transition in our administrators, which actually is a good sign, I think. We are welcoming Sarah Smith in endocrinology. Sarah joins us in the School of Public Health, will be the new division administrator for endocrinology. But many of the names here you've seen in prior talks of mine, and they truly are the engine behind our leaders that make all the work happen. So very grateful to all of them as well. We invest in our staff, and I think this is unusual for departments across this campus. And the way we've done this is through our staff mentorship program. We started this about 4.5 years ago when I first got here. To date, we've had 50 people come through this program, 34 individuals serve as mentors. And the bar graphs on the left just give you a sense of how this program has affected people. You'll see that when it comes to things like using a growth mindset at work, really thinking about identifying career goals, or even facilitating effective meetings, many individuals leave this program feeling better equipped with that. So this is a small, but I think a tangible way of how we help develop our staff as well. When we develop them, we need to also celebrate them. So 1.5 years ago, we started Staff Elevation Awards. These are specifically designed to recognize those who go above and beyond. They get to meet with me, we get to take a picture together, they get some See You Celebrate points as well to be able to spend on Amazon or whatever have you. But I will say it's a highlight of my day, because these nominations are truly spectacular when you read them. It's not a gimme, it's actually very competitive. One thing I'll tell you about our staff is they're very competitive, which is great. We have had over 80 Elevation nominees to date, and there's only one a month, so you can do the math in your head. And I'll just show you that they come from all across the department. They come from various divisions, various areas, various cores, because there's truly excellence when I look across the DOM. Speaking of the DOM, we are big, and we're getting bigger. I think, I just checked today, I think we may be the first or the second in terms of the largest departments of medicine in the country. We're almost at 1,500 people in the Department of Medicine. We have 360 APP faculty. There are 900 in the School of Medicine, so more than a third sit in the DOM. We have over 400 trainees, including researchers and residents and fellows, and then we have almost 1,000 research staff. And they're all in the divisions, all under the organizational structure I just described, but all under terrific leadership. Unless you think it's all about quantity, it's not. It's also about quality. We have the highest number of promotions that go through the department in terms of any department on campus. Cheryl Welch has me on speed dial and has our leaders on speed dial when it comes to this. This year we had 69 promotions and appointments and tenure go through the process, 46 assistant to associate professors, 16 associate to full professors, and 7 awards of tenure that were approved by the regents. That is the largest chunk in the entire school. I want to especially call out Dr. Neda Rasuli and Dr. Stu Linus. You'll see them in the upper right-hand corner here, who do this work. It's a lot of work, but they do it with grace and they do it with poise, and they help us support our faculty. So Stu and Neda, thank you for all your efforts. We are making a change this year. Dr. Marisha Burden, who's sitting in the upper left-hand corner here, is going to be our new lead for our Associate to Professor Promotions Committee. Many of you know Marisha. She is a professor of medicine and the head of the Division of Hospital Medicine. She's been a longstanding member of this committee. She's well-versed in the DOM and the SOM procedures and policies for promotions. They can be esoteric and a little vague, and she helps shine light on them. And she will succeed Dr. Stu Linus in this capacity, who unfortunately is battling a number of health-related issues. I wish Stu well. He has left big shoes for us to fill, but I'm very confident in Marisha's ability to do that. So again, quality and quantity in the DOM. Okay, so hopefully this has been impressive, because what I'm going to share with you next is how these great people do the work that they do according to programs and performance. I'll spend the bulk of my time here, and because there's a lot to talk about, I've organized this separately. I'll begin with telling you a little bit about our finances and our clinical performance. We'll talk about where we spend our money, our expenses, our productivity. I'm going to spend some time on this thing called funds flow that you guys have all heard about, but I'm going to do it again because I want you to hear about it again. We'll spend a lot of time on research and talk about our funding trends, our strategic programs, and I'm going to spend some time about RISE, our investment programs. We'll talk about quality and safety, and of course about faculty development and education. But let me begin with finances and clinical performance. This is our annual Department of Medicine budget. This is the budget I work with in the departments, and this has not changed significantly over the years. We have an annual budget of about $21 million in the DOM. Over a third of that goes back to divisions for a number of reasons, everything from retentions to recruitments to make-wholes to startups to shortfalls and special needs. These come up every year in different shapes and forms, and this is the right thing to do for us to reinvest back into our divisions, and we've done that fairly consistently over the years that I've been chair. About $4 million of that, or about 20%, a little less than 20%, comes back to the DOM for salaries for our vice chairs, for me, various search firms and recruitments, and our staff. And the rest of it's about a third, a third, a third. A third on education programs, a third in our research programs, and a third in what I call our signature programs, which includes things like wellness, includes things like faculty development, DREAM, OECSP, et cetera, et cetera. So that has been fairly static and not changed, which is a good thing. But I want to take a moment to look back at the last 5 fiscal years, and let's just look at where we've been and where we've gone. Again, thinking about the year that we've had, it can be easy to feel like it's been defeating. 5 years ago, we were in a different state. So if you look to the bar graph on your left, the stacked bar graph, the bars represent different categories. The black is our general budget. The gold is our grants. The darker gray is our CU Foundation funds, which comes from our gifts and our benefactors. And the top gray is our clinical income. So if you just look at the graphs over the years, in FY21, our clinical income was $161 million. We are now at $245 million in clinical income. That's an increase of 165%. Our grant funding, it's been challenging this year. We're actually up significantly, over 300% from where we were just in the past 5 fiscal years. And when you look at philanthropy, and I want to call out Scott Arthur and Allison, I see them back over here today, our foundation has been very supportive, and we've increased our gifts from 29.3 million all the way to 46.6 million. So if you look at just that side of the ledger, just our revenue, it looks terrific. The question I have for you is, what are we doing with that money? Well, a lot of it is actually going right back to where it came from. So as we've grown over the years, our expenses have also gone up. So take a look again at the left side of the graph. The bars here are somewhat different. The left is our salaries and benefits. The middle gray is operating expenses, and the top part is our assessments, what we pay to the campus, to the dean, to the chancellor. So what you'll see here is that as we've grown our revenue, we've also increased the number of our faculty and our staff. And as you do that, our salaries and benefits have also gone up dramatically from 205 million now to almost 326 million. Our operating expenses to support all of the programs, all of the people that we bring in, all of the HR, all of the overhead has also gone up, almost 300-fold, 300%, from 45 to 139 million. And obviously, as we make more, we get assessed more. As we get assessed more, we pay more to the boss. And so that has gone up as well. So I share this with you only because we are one of the few departments of medicine in the country that actually remain in the black. We still have a margin. That margin allows us to reinvest back into the things that we all care deeply about. Our education missions, our research missions. There are not a lot of departments in the country today that can say that actually have this financial status. But I also want to echo that we need to be mindful of this going forward. Our expenses and our revenues have to be balanced as we move forward as well. I'm setting the stage here because things are going to change, and they are changing because we're moving to a new funding model. So this is that famous funds flow slide that I will walk you through. But this is why it's so important now to be cognizant of our performance on the clinical space. So what is this thing called funds flow? It's a structured process by which financial support comes from the hospital through CU Medicine to the School of Medicine and then to the departments. When I first got here, it was this old book of deals with the CEO and the departments. And depending on Tom's mood for the day, and I've said this to him personally as well, you either got what you wanted or you didn't get what you wanted. It felt very arbitrary. It kind of felt very wrong in many ways. And medicine did okay, but many other departments did not. Funds flow takes all of that away. It's all formulaic. It's all driven by math. It's all driven by benchmarks. It's all nationally comparable. And it is designed to ensure that we have the resources that we need to support our faculty, to recruit strategically, and to drive mission-aligned growth. I want to call out Jimmy Lofton, who's been kind of the spearhead of this for the Department of Medicine. I'm so glad Jimmy is in our team. He has helped us through this and helped me personally understand many of the nuances and has actually helped the school as we think about how these operations happen. But the money comes from the hospital, goes through these pillars, and then comes to us in terms of the department's clinical missions. Funds flow is not about clinical mission only. There are two other streams of work that are happening. There's what's called research funds flow, which looks at the entire research commitment that the hospital and UC Health makes to the campus. That is currently a process that we're all examining to understand, is it the right amount of money? Is it going to the right places? And if so, what are we doing with it? So that's a separate body of work that is yet to start. Educational funds flow is the other piece of this, which is how do we support our trainees, our residents, our program directors, our APDs, and our core faculty. In the past, that has not been clear or transparent. Educational funds flow, again, drives this by benchmarks, by national standards, using ACGME, the size of a program, who should be core faculty, what the PD should get in terms of effort and support, so that the dollars are completely aligned. So what you'll see here is as we think about what we're talking today, it's really about clinical, but I want you to know that there is research funds flow and education funds flow also happening in the background. Now, you may have heard mixed things about funds flow, but let me take a perspective that looks across nationally and explains why I think this is an advantage for us. The first is that we no longer have to go back to the hospital for every little thing. We now get a check. The check is in the bank. We have agreed to provide the following services, services X. We think it'll cost Y, and we deliver on Z. How we do that in terms of organizing the teams, covering the services, dealing with the clinics, and managing the staff is on us. So in some ways, we now have control in areas that we did not. Huge responsibility, but also a huge advantage if you think about how we deploy those funds. The other piece that's very interesting is this actually aligns us across departments, across campus, because everyone sees everybody else's funds flow. So we know where you are, and we know what you have, and we can then have conversations about, gee, if you want to grow in this space, how much should medicine help, or where does medicine need, as we think about that particular area, because the numbers are now all on the table. So this is a brand new era of transparency. I already mentioned the academic pieces of this. There's research funds flow and education funds flow coming in. There are upsides to funds flow, so as we do better, there are rewards for enhanced productivity. And there's alignment with growth, so investments happen in areas where we want them to happen, versus where I see many other departments of medicine in the country where the conversations are, gee, what are we going to not have to do anymore to continue doing this? The conversations I'm in are about what are we doing next? It's a very different environment here than it is nationally across the country. Funds Flow provides recruitment support and generous recruitment support. So when we hire a new recruit for a new practice, they get 2 years of support. They get support up to 80% of their median productivity in their first year and then 60% in their second year. And if it's a replacement for a clinician or somebody who already has a panel and a practice, we get 1 year of support. The kicker is we get the check. Whether or not we make it or not is on us, right? So if we do better than expected, we keep the benefits, and if we don't, then we're at risk. Again, a very different way of thinking about how we manage our books. Funds Flow provides financial stability and strength, and total dollar value coming from the hospital to the school has gone up, not down. There are annual increases built into Funds Flow so that there's inflation indexed to this, so that it goes up year on year. And the way that the math is done, the way it's calculated, is actually quite favorable. So let me show you what I mean when I talk about favorable benchmarks. There are 2 models for funds flow. There's what's called structural services and covered services. When you think of structural services, I want you to think about outpatient ambulatory services where you have some degree of control over volume, but there may be a structural deficit between how much you can generate in terms of your actual productivity and where your salaries are. There's a gap. In many places, including Penn Medicine and Banner, the 2 latest examples, physicians are asked to work at the 70th percentile to get paid at the 50th percentile. The reason that's true is because that 20% delta or that gap is then used to support all the other things that people do. Now, can you imagine me talking to our docs and saying, work a little harder, I'm going to pay you a little bit less? It's a very difficult conversation to have. Our benchmarks actually don't have that delta. We compensate at the benchmark based upon productivity. It's 1 for 1. Again, an unusual feature, not very common across many funds flow models, but an advantage of ours. The same is true for covered services. As many of you know, I'm a hospitalist. Many hospitalist programs actually underpay their physicians. They pay below benchmark, but ask them to work at the productivity of a 50th percentile or at median. And that delta in funding is what supports those missions. We don't have that. We pay at parity. We have compensation and productivity metrics clearly aligned. I'm sharing this with you not because I want you to be alarmed or scared, but I want you to emphasize that this is going to be a different way that we do things in the DOM. It's a big change of culture. Our division heads, all of the leadership team have been meeting and talking about most of the potentials and perils of this model as well. And the one thing that's been very clear is that we need good data. We can't do this without having the right data, having the right infrastructure to be able to guide the work that we're doing. So we've been building that. This is an example, a screenshot of our divisional dashboards. I know most of the division heads and many of the clinical leaders have seen this. What this shows divisional leadership is where they are right now in terms of their overall revenue and revenue streams. So you see on the left, you have encounter types across the entire division. You have your actual billing and summary. You've got your breakdown of what's happening on the inpatient side, what's happening on the outpatient side. And on the right, you can see all of your providers and where they are relative to that benchmark. So if you need to have a conversation, or if someone's doing exceedingly well, this is the place where you can go to find that information. 4 years ago, we didn't have this. So this was sort of us flying blind, waiting for the reports to come from CU Medicine. We have this now. And I want to call out Eddie Stenium and Jimmy, who have been very busy building this along with Stephen Newcomb along the way. We also want to create guidance for clinicians. So the dashboard features a clinician-centric view. So if you're a doc and you're like, hey, how am I doing? Am I on track? Do I have the right metrics in place? This is what your view will look like. You've got your RVU targets sitting here in the upper left, this little black vertical line. You know where you are in terms of what you've done. You can look at your E&M billing by charges and by codes. You can compare yourself to other peers at the end of the day, and you could break it down by inpatient, outpatient, tele, et cetera, et cetera. We have not pushed this out to all clinicians. We have this at your divisional leadership level. We want them to decide how best to use these data, but these data are now available. And again, this is something we created, but I'm hoping that we scale across the entire department and the school, because this is what we need, right, to be able to manage the new funds flow world as well. I will be the first to tell you that it's becoming harder and harder to be a clinician. And when people see this, it can easily feel self-defeating or demoralizing. So the other piece of this is, how are we helping our clinicians be successful? Well, some of you hopefully have heard of Abridge or have used Abridge. I was in service most recently and I used it. I think it's actually game-changing. It's an ambient AI listening technology. You put your phone on, you have a conversation with your patient, and your notes are scribed for you. It's not perfect. I get that. It requires a little bit of sort of robotic work to be able to call out certain things because you want the tool to listen to it and put it in your notes. But this is now being funded across the school and across departments, and DOM was the largest individual department contributing to this, or will be, I would say, because we do want this to be something that we have access to for our clinical faculty. So not only are we moving to this new model, we're building new tools, and we're investing in supporting our clinicians, who are the engines that drive a lot of the work that we do. I'm going to pivot next to talk about research in the Department of Medicine, and a lot here to cover. Again, we've had a good year despite all of the challenges. There are a total of 749 active grants in the department. We have about $212 million in total funding. That's not just federal and non-federal, that's a lot of contracts, and a lot of dollars that flow in different ways. We are ranked number 21 in the nation, and I haven't seen the final number yet, but I do think we're going to jump dramatically next year, where we look at our Blue Ridge rankings. And this is the work of 280 PIs across 14 divisions in the DOM. Truly the work of many spectacular individuals. I want to take a look back again. Where have we been and where are we today? So over the past 5 fiscal years, if you look at those stacked bar graphs on the left, you'll see again that same trend in terms of growth. Our non-federal grants are the lighter colored bars at the bottom. Our federal are the darker colored. And you see we've increased our non-federal grant funding significantly, almost 4-fold. We've also increased our federal grant portfolio 3-fold over the same time period. It's not just because we have great people here. Again, this is also a testament to our affiliates and us doing work across our sites. This comes from our 3 sites, Denver Health, which has 24 of our PIs, generating $5.3 million in funding. The VA, where we have 52 PIs from the Department of Medicine, they generate almost $19.5 million. And of course, National Jewish, where we have 69 PIs that generate over $110 million. Again, the strength of our institution isn't just here, it's across many of our affiliates. Dr. Higgins, who's sitting over here, along with our research leadership team, has put together a research strategic leadership plan. That plan has 5 pillars: accessing resources, investing in our researchers, fostering connections across divisions, being better about how we communicate changes, and how also we develop our talent. Quick whirlwind of all the work that's happened here. First, for the first time, and I can say this with actual pride, we have a single source for access to all of the resources that we have for research at one site. It's /medicine/research. Sounds really pithy that we have this, but trust me, this was really hard to do. So if you want a letter of support for a grant, if you want to ask about a funding mechanism, if you're interested in applying for a grant, this is where you go. One source of truth for everything. A big pain point for our divisions has been around post-award grant support. A lot of turnover in this area, very hard to retain people. We have centralized this under Alicia El-Ali, who's also in the department. We now have 6 divisions that take advantage of centralized post-award support. We have 3 FTE here, and we're continuing to build and recruit on this team. They are currently managing 81 unique PIs, and that is growing, and they take care of 144 grants in current state with 242 speed types. So they're busy. But the beauty is now we have a core, we have a central team. We don't have to worry about divisions funding this independently. We actually have a centralized way of doing this across the Department of Medicine. An area I've been very excited about has been about our health services research, our T3, T4 hub. We had a great meeting this morning talking about this. This is work led by Dan Matlock, our new Associate Vice Chair for Research. This is in collaboration with Accords, Dr. Jerica Burge, who's been a wonderful partner for us. This is going to feature a secondary data resource where we can actually have access to existing data sets. That data source and those data sets should then generate more papers, more publications, more grants. We've only had this up about 9 months now, and it's a soft launch, but we already had 1 grant application go out of it. There are 9 more requests in process. We've developed an umbrella IRB to support access to this data, so individual PIs don't have to go get their own IRBs. Because the data is unique, it's Merative Market Scan, it has pharmacological data, it has outcome data, it has cost data. We have advising as to how you can use this data set and how you can apply for access to it. And we're building a way to make this sustainable, right? Because this can't just be another cost, it's gotta be sort of self-sustaining, and we're adding more data sets or more human resources to this as time goes on. So I'm very excited about this. This is an area I think we can really grow in across DOM and also across campus. I mentioned making sure we actually have collaborative opportunities. I'm sorry the slide got run over, but we're really thinking about Collaborate, which is our collaborative opportunities for advancing research and translational efforts. This is a pretty simple plan. 3 PIs coming from 3 different areas. They put together an interdisciplinary research plan. We give them $40,000 in pilot funding, along with some money for team formation. They're off to the races, they write papers, they write grants, and so on and so forth. This has been actually so well received that the School of Pharmacy also dived in and wanted to be part of this, so they're putting in money for when their faculty join us on these endeavors as well. A terrific achievement, I think, of, again, encouraging research across departments and divisions. Many of you have been to Dr. Kemp's seminar series on specific aims and grant writing. It has been sort of the most highly reviewed of our many programs in the Department of Medicine. Jenny leads this. She goes through your specific aims page, your resubmissions, your research plans, your bio sketches. We run 9 sessions of these 3 times a year. People get together and talk about their grants and talk about their challenges. It creates peer support. It allows for other reviews of your work, and it provides you with dedicated writing times. We've had 23 people go through this program this year. We've had 20 R01 submissions come out of it. 6 of those have been funded, 6 of those have been triaged or denied, and 8 are currently out there. So this is a great mechanism for us to sharpen those grants and get them to be more successful. When we ask the PIs that go through this program whether it was helpful, you'll see the bar graphs on the right. Universally, it is well received for those that actually attend this program. So for the division heads in the room, for emerging investigators, for folks thinking about support as you write your first major grant, this is an opportunity you should take full advantage of in the DOM. We're also focused on how we develop our talent. This is also true for the administrative staff. So Alicia has been focusing a lot on helping division administrators with pre- and post-award processes. It's been pretty wild this year how much has changed and how much changes day to day. Alicia has stayed on top of it. We've developed a library of sort of boilerplate language for various grants, so you don't have to write the environment, the resources, all of those pieces, those are there. And one of the key things I've asked this team to do is to shine a spotlight on all the people in the department doing great work. So we've been writing nomination letters for awards on behalf of our PIs. In 2023, we submitted 10. In 2024, 15, and this year, Janine and her team submitted 20 nominations. These are individually crafted letters, right, for an individual PI, recognizing their work and the value they bring and why it's important for them to win these awards. And so this is something we're going to continue to do, again, to bring the due credit to our individuals for all the work that they've done over the year as well. Last, I want to talk about RISE. So for those of you who know what RISE is, this is a way we give money back to PIs when they generate grant funding. This is an acronym for the Research Investment in the Scientific Enterprise. On the left, you'll see a series of bar graphs. This is essentially showing you the evolution of RISE over time. So on the far left, we had a program called the Research Intensive Faculty Program, RIFP. That was where this program started, where we gave dollars back to PIs. When we started RISE, we only had 32 of those awards. In 2024, we had 98 total awards go out. And this year, we had 99, so a little bit more. What you'll notice as you go across the screen is that the number of awards have increased, but the funding of the awards has decreased in terms of the larger awards, the 40,000 and 50,000 awards, where we had to cut back a little bit. Now, I received a lot of emails from PIs who were unhappy about this because they felt like they deserved these awards, and this felt as a little bit of a, well, why am I not getting what I'm due? I just want to reassure you, we were very thoughtful about this. We looked at other sources of funding to make sure our PIs would not be hurt in this process, and they had funds. And as you know, this was a difficult year in research. So what did we do with the other money? We actually put that money back into supporting the DOM SOM fund for gap funding, the bridge funding, where we gave over $1 million. And then we've used funds to support many PIs in our department who have had gaps, not because their work has not been great, but because it's either gone through this period where there were no grant reviews. We're still dealing with that now with many sections we haven't yet met, and lots of gaps in funding. And if you look at that black bar on the far right, that's what we would have spent. That's what we have spent on research this year. So for some of you who are thinking, hey, we're taking the foot off the gas, we're not. We're just having to redirect some of the dollars to help those who need it the most. And that's what happened this year in particular. So that's research. Let me tell you a little bit about our quality and safety programs as well. And this is our Quality Council. We established this 4 years ago. This is work that Anunta and Tyler have led along the way. These are individuals who have dedicated support and FTE from the department and the divisions, and now David Murphy obviously supervises them. For those of you who've seen this before, you'll notice a face is missing. That's Heather Hallman. Heather was our program manager. Heather has moved on to many other great things, and so we are actively hiring for a new program manager for quality. This is what we're known for on this campus, and we need a good leader to help organize some of this on the administrative side, so we are actively looking for folks. And if you have leads on folks, please send them our way. We are actually searching far and wide, including nationally, for the right person right now. A gem of our quality program is LINKS. This is the Leadership in Quality and Safety program. I think many of you in the room, I'm seeing some familiar faces, have actually gone through this program. We're now in our 7th cohort of fellows, and you can see the current fellows here. They come far and wide from across the department. A trend I want to point out is we're seeing a lot more APP faculty join LINKS, which is terrific. They're very close to the work. They understand the gaps. They understand the quality and safety implications. And again, we are focusing this program on teaching QI principles, teaching healthcare system leadership, really thinking about informatics and patient safety. And it's taught by some of our best leaders. So it's mentorship, it's peer support, it's hands-on training. It truly is spectacular. And again, we get many more applications every year for this program that we can afford, but it is a phenomenal way to train future leaders in quality and safety, one I'm very proud of. The other piece of work that's been going on this year has been really realigning with the health system on how we think about quality. In my years here, it's been very one-sided. It's been a system decides here the goals are, and then we have to develop our structures to support those goals. This year, we're really thinking about joint leadership with Dr. Kristen McKeel. She's up on the upper left next to David Murphy. Really thinking about how we collaborate together to define those goals, align our priorities. We have a new combined meeting for our vice chairs with the UC Health System to talk about those goals. We are focusing. We can't boil the ocean. It doesn't make sense to have 19 different metrics. How do we get smart about this and get focused? And I think fundamentally we're getting to this sense of shared purpose. How do we share in this? Because it doesn't affect one party or the other, it affects both of us. So stay tuned. I'm excited about this, and I think with David's leadership, we're going to be in a good position to do this across the school. Last but not least, I want to talk about education and faculty development. Sunita is sitting over here, and this has been a sort of a dream come true for me. We started launch teams as this idea of helping people launch their careers. When we started this, I didn't think it would have the impact that it had, but let me give you a sense of scope. We've had 52 total teams, so each team has about 3 to 4 people on it so far. We've had 171 total meetings, again, all focused on developing people. Every division in the Department of Medicine has had 1 or more launchees go through this program. As you can see, there are many that come back for more and more, and sometimes we have to hold them back a little bit to create space. What's been very interesting is that I initially thought this would be a program largely for clinicians and clinician educators trying to find their way. Turns out that we actually are seeing a lot more interest from researchers as well as they're thinking about their next steps in their career. And we're also seeing a different phenotype. We're not only seeing physicians come through this, we're seeing PhD scientists come through this as they're looking for their launch and their next level of focus, but also our advanced practice faculty. I'm willing to bet you next year when I come back, that circle in the upper right will look different. As we continue to build launch, I think we're gonna start to see more and more individuals from different backgrounds come to this. If you've never been in a launch meeting or ever heard of it, you should take part in one. It truly is magical. It's an hour where all we do is focus on building people. And again, it's for people who are disconnected from you directly, who are there invested in your future success. One of the areas also we've been focusing on for future success is the hidden curriculum. How do we think about the hidden curriculum in medicine? And this is the new seminar series that Sunita started called Ascend. It's a monthly seminar for junior faculty. We've had over 100 people come through this to date. And it's all the stuff that you wish you had learned that no one ever told you. How do you negotiate effectively? Hey, how do I make my CV look the way it should look? What do I do with conflict in the workplace, and how do I manage that? Where does my salary actually come from, and why is Dr. Chopra always on me for my salary? What's that look like? And so on and so forth, right? We create these very high-yield topics. These are, again, short seminars, but they're open to everyone. Meredith has been working on doing the same for our APP faculty. She's developed an Elevate Career Series, again, focusing on teaching our APPs what academic medicine looks like. how we can think about various aspects, including education, QI, and scholarship. She's developed a seminar series called APP Advance, and this includes our new promotion matrix for how APP should move up in the system. As you probably can imagine, every division kind of did this differently. We now have one standard way of doing it, and it is now adopted by the entire school in terms of their rubric as well. I love Popcorn and Promotions. It's a place where you get to hang out and talk about, gee, what does it take to go and up the next level? And by the way, where's the popcorn, right? So a wonderful way to meet and greet people as well. One of the things I'm very proud of in my personal career is Mentorship Academy. We took it global this year. We were in Japan this year. We actually had CU faculty fly all the way to Japan. I think they were there on vacation, but they were there. It was surprising to me because I didn't know. The person in the middle is the mayor of Tokyo. He was the one who actually opened the ceremony, and we had 50 of Japan's most important and impressive leaders in the room. Truly was impressive. And just last month, we took it local. We went back to Michigan this year. We did it at Michigan at the League. Again, a very sort of regaled environment with many of our folks from CU there as well. So truly, I think, magical for us in the department as we think about our brand, live out our values, think about our missions, think about where we want to be in the next several years. Our mission is about our educators, and every year I don't have to change this slide because it never changes, right? Our educational leaders just continue to excel. And this year, under Jennifer Spicer's leadership, I think it's going to be even more impactful than before. I swear to God, I look at this slide every year and say, are we changing this? Because it looks the same as last year. But it actually looks the same because we are better. We rank better by our trainees on the National ACGME Annual Survey than many other programs across the nation. And don't just take my word for what the trainees are surveying and saying to us. Look at where we're getting our trainees from. They're coming from all over the country, but also all over the world. And this is something I'm very proud of. If you think about the year we've had, think about the challenges in immigration, all the stuff you've been hearing about in terms of visas and people, we're still bringing people here because they want to be part of this incredible environment. I also have started a new program along with Dr. Limes about recognizing our fellows. This is a great program because the residents get to pick who the Fellow of the Month is. So the residents know who to call, who not to call, or what that conversation is going to look like. This is Jackie Kirschenwald, and she was recognized by the residents for her contributions. I didn't show the actual script because it's very, very long, but it's really heartwarming to see how our fellows support our teams. And so this is a great way to recognize many of the things that we do here in our educational space. You all know about point-of-care ultrasound. I still meet with trainees who say, I came here because of this curriculum. This is something that we do that's very unique. We are national leaders in this space, and we're moving from volume to competency-based assessments. Literally half the incoming class every year signs up for this procedure elective. In Dr. Limes' words, it is wildly popular because people want to learn this. And you may think it's a learning exercise. Let me show you how this actually changes things. So this is Dr. Brian Redline. I see all my chiefs smiling now. Brian was my intern, but this story was not from when he was my intern. He was on CrossCover, and he got a call, as many of us get, and say, hey, this patient's really tachycardic, I'm concerned. So Dr. Redline goes over and looks at the chart and says, well, the working diagnosis, she got chemo, she was dehydrated, maybe it's just a lot of fluids. That's what the team was doing during the day, let's give her more fluids. But Dr. Redline loves POCUS, for those of you who know him. So he takes out his ultrasound, he takes a look in the belly, and finds new fluid in the abdomen. Didn't see any charting of that before. Goes back in, orders a CAT scan. Turns out this patient actually had a new intra-abdominal hemorrhage, which was an arterial extravasation, and had an embolization performed that night. Small way of showing how these programs actually aren't just teaching people skills, they're changing people's lives. I think this person would not have had a good outcome had Dr. Redline not taken a look. So this is how POCUS and the programs actually have impact to the actual patients we care for. All right, I want to talk a little bit about priorities and wrap up here. One of my priorities continues to be and will continue to be global health. And Dr. Andres Henao Martinez is here. He's put together an incredible report of our global health activities. It's sitting in the back. I highly encourage you to take one when you go. We now have champions for global health across the department. And in case you were wondering what has happened to global health, it's not slowed down over here in the department. We've had missions to Uganda. We have global oncology in Mexico. We have primary care in Ethiopia. We sent someone to India this year on a sabbatical. We are doing what we're doing. And we continue to do that because, again, this is part of who we are, right? It's our mission, it's our values, and this is what we do. Just some numbers. We sent 9 faculty to Zimbabwe and Guatemala this year. We had 11 people come from all over the world for observerships. They went to 5 different divisions when they were here. And we actually brought a Grand Round speaker also from Zimbabwe. So Andres, thank you for leading this work, and we will continue to support our global health partners. It's been a tough year, so we have to think about our wellness in our faculty, in our department. As you will recall, we moved wellness from a DOM central approach to a distributed approach across divisions. Each of the divisions now has a wellness champion, so you will see them here. We support these champions and support these programs with over $190,000 jointly funded by the school and the department. These divisions and these leaders are really developing strategic initiatives using the survey data that we collected last year from the school. So focusing on things like community, on recognition, on autonomy and opportunity, developing their own strategic plans. I saw rheumatologists yesterday, and Christy is here. I was actually so impressed by it because it does touch on all of these areas as well. And the idea is that the people closest to the work know where their gaps are. They know where their pain points are. So now they're using these resources to direct to those areas. Next year, I hope to actually bring you some outcome data for some of this work because I do think it's going to be transformative. But we've gone from having it live in the department to now live in the division. One area that we've also focused on is coaching. This is our Better Together program, which is run by 2 of our own faculty, Tyra and Adrian. It's an evidence-based program that improves burnout and imposter phenomenon. We make it available to all of our trainees. We did that for free in 2024. To borrow Dr. Limes' terms, it was wildly popular. And so this year we expanded it to include mid-career faculty, advanced practice providers, and staff. And just to give you a sense, literally hundreds of people are taking part in this program from 9 divisions to date. So again, an area where we encourage a lot of the work that we do to support each other through these difficult times. I'm all about our brand. I want this to be the place everyone's talking about, so our comms team helps us with that. A lot of things to brag about here. Did you know we had almost 78,000 blog views this year? We had 80 articles that were written by our team featuring 193 of our faculty and staff. We got almost 1,000 new social media followers. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing this year, but okay, that's great. We have an alumni newsletter. We have thousands of web page reviews, and our faculty were actually featured in CBS, Newsweek, Time, and many other prestigious journals. Again, the comms team's job is to elevate and make it visible, and they've done a terrific job with that over the years, so thank you, our comms team. The signature product of the comms team is Better Together or Stronger Together. This was a theme that we picked last year, right, Rachel, before we even knew what this year would look like, and it couldn't be more profoundly applicable to the year. There are copies in the back. Please read it. It's all about the work that we do and all of you, and it is an area that's a priority of ours. So thank you, because I think it reflects really nicely on our department as well. We have to diversify. We've had a relentless focus on philanthropy. Dr. Haugen, who's our Director of Philanthropy in the DOM, was behind raising money this year. We raised almost $13 million this year in gifts and funds. I see Dr. Chanchal sitting over here. I heard about another big gift coming to nephrology as well. And I know we have a very large one also coming through the Ludeman Center. So this number is going to change dramatically. And we have to diversify our portfolio. We can no longer be reliant on one source, and philanthropy is going to be a key way that we grow. But it's not just about growing from gifting, it's also giving back, right? So one of the programs that we started this year was our DOM Scholars Program. This is a program where faculty give back to our junior and mid-career faculty. We provide funds that are matched by the department for 2 years of funding for the scholar. Individual alumni or current faculty choose to give back, and wouldn't you know it, we've raised over $500,000 this year to give back to junior faculty through this DOM Scholars Program. I might start a race next year to see who has the most scholars. Maybe there's a bonus prize at the end of that race, but it's phenomenal to see this because this truly is our values in living life, right? This is how we give back to our junior folks. All right, so let me finish up by telling you what lies ahead and where I'm thinking about various things. The first and foremost thing is really thinking about clinical and programmatic funds flow. We have to get that right. We have to manage that well. We have to support our recruitment. We have to make sure we're sustainable. It's going to be a heavy lift, I think, for all of us, but I feel very prepared with the team that we have and the measures we put in place to do that. We have to support educational funds flow. I think that will be a big win for us in the DOM. I feel and I know, as a matter of fact, that we're not getting what we need to support our educational programs. This will align us with ACGME benchmarks. It will provide support for all those key people, and it will allow us to succeed on the educational side. And yes, there is a research funds flow coming as well. We have to think about how that actually focuses on those key clinical areas that are of interest, including cardiovascular, transplant, and oncology across our missions. We have to continue to support the troops. This is our Clinical Excellence Society. We're inaugurating a new cohort in 2025. So stay tuned for an update on this, but this is the best of the best, right? This is how we celebrate our best doctors, and we will continue to do that this year as well. I am mindful that we live on an island here on the AMC. Our growth needs to be thought about strategically off of this space. So we will be expanding and continuing to expand our clinical enterprise. We are launching, or in partnership with UC Health, a new ambulatory surgery center. I say we because the DOM is the largest stakeholder, actually has the most shares in this ASC of any CU entity. And we're going to grow our programs in cardiology, in gastroenterology, oncology, rheumatology, and endocrinology. So this is an area where I see continued purpose and growth. Research has been on my mind, as I'm sure it's been on yours. We want to focus on expanding our health services research hub, really thinking about additional data sets, statistics, and epi support. I know that's an area that's been a pain point, but also thinking about EHR access. And I see Jean is here as well. Jean Kuttner and I have had many conversations about this, and we will continue to do so in terms of having that be more democratic and available. We have to think about our research expenses and opportunities, identify and align our investments with growth, and then we have to continue to diversify our research portfolio. Last but not least, as many of you know, I have a new position in the Dean's office. And so when I look ahead, I think about what that's going to look like. I have two very big jobs, and they both are very hard to do. And I feel like it's going to be at some point a decision I have to make about where I stay and where I live moving forward. That's not an easy decision. I have chatted with the Dean about this, and I have agreed with him that I will stay in my role until the end of 2026, at least to make sure that we get through funds flow and we get things done as well. And after that, we'll have to make some decisions. That's where my contract officially ends, but that's where I think we will have to make a choice about where I will be and where I will go. I'm sharing this with you not to alarm you, but to be honest and transparent, again, living our values in terms of who we are and what we do, but also to say this is good because I won't be too far away if that were to happen with the Department of Medicine. So I'll conclude by saying, look, no matter the angle you take, it's been a challenging year. See Larry Allen sitting back over there. I think Larry's words are exactly right. We have not only survived, we have evolved, and we have thrived in many areas, and hopefully you feel that way when you've seen all of the data and numbers I presented. You know, our secret is very simple. It's about our investments. It's investments in people, it's in our platforms, and it's our programs. And if we do that right, and we continue to do that right, I think we can weather almost any storm. Because underneath all of that are strong core values, a strong mission, and strong values. So I will conclude by saying the state of the Department of Medicine remains strong. I'm grateful to all of you here in physical presence, but also those online. And I'm happy to take any questions you may have in the next few minutes. But thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for a wonderful year. So I think we have a mic runner if there's a few questions. I know we have limited time, but yeah, Dave Badish. Go ahead, Dave.
Vineet, I just wanted to say thank you. I think you're doing a wonderful job. You've assembled a terrific leadership team, an administrative team. We appreciate what you're doing. Keep it up.
Thanks,
Dave.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to give Dave $20 afterwards, by the way. Thank you, Dave.
Dr. Chopra, we do have a question online.
Okay.
Do we have any updates on the hiring chill and how that impacts delayed promotions? Is this impacting the department as a whole?
Yeah, good question. So updates on the hiring chill. As you will recall, it's not a freeze, it's a chill. So we have to have justifications for when we're hiring and how we're hiring. We have been careful, but we have been strategic. We haven't necessarily stopped hiring those critical positions that we need for the department's success. To my knowledge, it has not affected our promotions or our moving upwards in any way. In terms of where it's going, this is an active conversation with the chancellor and the dean. I think by January of 2026, you're going to see two changes. One is on the hiring freeze, and the other is on the travel ban and travel chill and travel policies, which are also being looked at actively. So thank you for that question. We're at time, so I'm going to hang around here and answer questions, but thanks again, everyone. Appreciate you being here.